Okay, now we're going to do 2.6 to 3.2, review number 2. So review number 2 starts out with a quadratic inequality that needs solving. We're going to solve this. So hopefully you remember that the first thing you need to do is get it factored. We're going to factor it carefully. What multiplies up to 12 that might add up to 7? How about 3 and 4? If you take the time to FOIL this, F-O-I-L, first, outside, inside, last, if you take the time to do that, you will see that this does work out to be this. You should always FOIL just to check that you've got the right factoring. All right, so now I draw a number line because it's an inequality. And on the number line are going to be 2 dots. They're going to be filled in dots. And they're going to be at -4 and -3 in that order. This is a number line. And I know that my shading is going to alternate. I'm just not sure where to start shading. So I'm going to pick a number. And the number I like to pick is 0. You don't have to pick 0. You can pick any number you want. 0, remember, is out here. This is where 0 would be on the number line. So I'm going to plug in 0 and see if I should shade here or not. So if I plug in 0, I get 3 times 4. Is 3 times 4 less than 0? No, 12 is not less than 0. So plugging in 0 didn't give me less than 0, didn't give me what I wanted. So this isn't shaded, which means this is, and this is not. So the answer to your problem is everything between -4 and -3, brackets. All right, now I am simplifying. Okay, remember, a negative exponent means a flip. So I flip the 2/3, make it 3/2. Now I square everything, so I have 8 times 9/4, 3 squared, 2 squared. Now I'm multiplying, so I need to think of this as 8 over 1. So I get 72 over 4. Some of you might read cross cancel, and that's fine. Straight across gives me 72 over 4, and that reduces to 18. So the answer to the problem is 18. Now we're going to write an exponential that represents an initial value of 192 and decreasing 12% per day. So my initial value is 192. Kids, don't make that confusing. A is always the initial value. A is the starting point. So I'm starting at 192, and now I am decreasing 12%. So 1 minus 12%, 0.88. My rate is 0.88. I'm decreasing, or not my rate, my base, my B value is 0.88. I'm decreasing 12%. And that's it. You don't have to do anything with it. That's it. Now we're going to find the asymptotes and holes for this guy. Now to do that, we're going to have to start by factoring. So the bottom is the difference of squares, that's easy. The top, let's see. If I I multiply this together, I'm going to get a positive x and a negative 5x and a negative 5. Just did a quick double check of my factoring, foiling it to make sure I got it right. Now, you notice that we can cancel. So our problem reduces to simply this. There will be a hole at the point that I canceled out, the x value that I canceled out. So I canceled out negative 1. So now I need to go back to my new equation, my reduced equation, and I'm going to put in negative 1. So when I plug, I cancel out x plus 1, that means my hole is at negative 1. When I plug that in, negative 1 minus 5, negative 1 minus 1, I get 3. Now, what about asymptotes? Well, we don't have to graph this. I'm just using a picture to illustrate the asymptotes. All we're going to do is write down what they are. So there's the whole. Now, denominator can't be 1, the denominator can't be 0, so x can't be 1, so I have a vertical asymptote at 1. Vertical asymptotes are cannot be's. What can x not be? And then my horizontal asymptote, I'll just box those in, and it is also at 1. So I have a horizontal asymptote at 1 and a vertical horizontal y equals 1, vertical x equals 1. Okay. And here we go. Last one. We got to solve this equation or inequality. All right, so you recall the first thing you have to do is subtract the 2. Think of it as 2 over 1, because now we're going to get a common denominator. We are going to multiply this thing right here by x minus 2 over x minus 2. So now the denominators match. I can write one giant fraction, and my numerator, 3x plus 1, be careful, minus 2x plus 4, be careful, negative 2x, positive 4. Now I can clean that up and have x plus 5 over x minus 2. Just collecting like terms up there. So now I'll go to my number line. I'm going to have a dot at negative 5 and a dot at 2, negative 5 and 2. It isn't or equal to, but remember, denominator dots can't be colored in. You can't put 2 in here, that would be bad. Had to be a 0 in the bottom, can't have a 0 in the bottom. So the denominator dot is open. And now I know I'm going to shade every other, I just don't know where to get started. So I'm going to plug in 0. You can plug in anything you want. I'm going to plug in 0. 0 is right here. 0 is in between these two. When I put in 0, I get 5 over negative 2. Is negative 5 halves bigger than 0? Nope. So I'm not going to shade here, but I am going to shade both ends. I'm not shading here because I tried a number and it didn't work. So my answer is negative infinity to 5, and that one's a bracket since it's a closed dot, or 2 to infinity. And that's it. Good job.